There comes a moment in every seeker's journey when all seems still, when your prayers echo in the empty chambers of your heart and the world responds with silence. You hear nothing, no sign, no answer, no confirmation. And in that silence, many feel abandoned, confused, or forgotten. But understand this, when you hear nothing, that is God's whisper of faith. The universe does not always speak in thunderous declarations. Often it calls you to lean into the quiet, to rest in the stillness, and to listen not with your ears, but with your soul. This silence is the sacred space where faith is born, pure, unshakable, and unseen. Hearing nothing is not absence, it is presence, a subtle, divine nudge, urging you to trust without proof, to believe without evidence, to imagine without interruption. When your outer world offers no answers, your inner world is wide awake, crafting the unseen reality you desire. Faith is not loud. It does not shout over the chaos of life. It is the whisper beneath your breath, the gentle assurance that all is well, even when your senses say otherwise. In that whisper lies power, the power to create, to transform, to manifest. Your inner being, the silent watcher within, knows the truth before your mind does. It is the fertile soil where your dreams take root. When you feel nothing but silence, know that your subconscious mind is at work, weaving the threads of your desire into the fabric of your reality. This silence asks you to be patient, to trust the timing of the unseen, to remain steadfast in your conviction, even when the world shows no sign. It is in this faith, unshaken by lack of evidence, that miracles are born. So when you hear nothing, embrace the stillness. Close your eyes and feel the reality of your wish fulfilled. Hold the feeling as if it is already yours. Let the quiet be your ally and your guide. For in the hush of nothingness, God whispers faith, and faith is the seed from which all your dreams will grow. In the journey of life, we are often caught up in a whirlwind of noise. The ceaseless chatter of the mind, the clamor of the outside world, the demands and distractions that pull us in every direction. We fill our days with sounds and busyness, seeking answers, seeking validation, seeking signs. But true understanding, true revelation, rarely comes in the midst of such noise. It is only when the external world falls silent, when the loudness of circumstance, opinion, and distraction fades away, that we enter a sacred space where faith begins to speak in its purest form. This silence is not emptiness, it is fullness. It is not a void, but a fertile ground, a womb of creation where the divine message, often unheard in the chaos, comes softly to the soul. In this silence, your soul becomes a receiver tuned to a higher frequency, a frequency where truth and power dwell beyond words. The external noise is a veil, thick and heavy, obscuring the subtle whispers of your inner being. When that veil lifts, when you step into the quiet, you begin to hear what has always been there, the divine message that your faith has been waiting for. Silence is the sacred sanctuary where your spirit communes with the unseen, where your deepest desires are nurtured and given life. It is here in the stillness that faith is not an abstract concept, but a living, breathing presence. When the noise dies down, your mind, no longer distracted by doubts and fears, becomes still like a calm lake. And in the reflection of that lake, you see the image of your wish fulfilled, the reality you are destined to create. The sacredness of silence lies in its ability to strip away the illusions of the world and bring you back to your true self, the creative essence within you that knows no limits. It is a place beyond the intellect, beyond the senses, where faith does not need evidence or proof. Here, faith speaks in the language of feeling, of knowing, of unshakable trust. It is a whisper so quiet that only the heart can hear it, but its power is vast enough to move mountains. In this quiet, you learn to listen deeply, not for answers dictated by the outside world, but for the guidance that comes from within. The answers you seek are not in the noise, but in the silence that follows. When you create space for stillness, you open a channel to the infinite wisdom that resides in your subconscious mind, the divine source from which all creation flows. The external noise often tries to convince you that you are alone, that your desires are distant or impossible. But silence reveals the truth, that you are never separate from the creative power that brought you into being. This power is patient and gentle, inviting you to rest in the quiet, to trust the process, to surrender the need for immediate confirmation. When you embrace silence, you align yourself with the divine rhythm of life. You understand that manifestation is not a frantic chase, but a serene knowing. The more you resist the noise, the more you resist the chaos, the clearer this sacred message becomes. Silence becomes your teacher, your guide, and your sanctuary. Faith is born and grows in this sacred silence. It is nurtured by the absence of distraction and the presence of quiet confidence. The more you listen in silence, the more you feel the truth of your desires is already fulfilled. This feeling is the divine message, the assurance that your faith is not in vain, that your inner world is shaping your outer reality with precision and grace. So the next time the world around you grows loud and overwhelming, seek the silence within. Turn away from the clamor and enter that sacred space. Let the external noise fade until only the quiet remains. In that quiet, you will find the gentle whisper of faith speaking directly to your soul. It will remind you that all you desire is already yours, waiting to be claimed not by force or struggle, but by the peaceful knowing born in the sacred silence where faith speaks. There is a profound lesson hidden in the experience of hearing nothing. When you reach out with your heart, when you ask the universe or your own inner being for guidance, help, or answers, and the world responds with silence, it can feel unsettling. You may expect a clear sign, a spoken word, or an unmistakable confirmation, but instead you meet an absence. No voice, no signal, no visible sign. Yet this very absence is not a punishment or a denial. It is an invitation. It is a sacred call to deepen your trust and to awaken a belief that transcends the limits of your physical senses. Hearing nothing challenges you to move beyond the reliance on what can be seen, heard, or touched. It asks you to enter a realm where faith is not based on evidence, but on knowing. When the senses fail to provide confirmation, you are pushed inward to the unseen, where your imagination and your feelings become the only true proof. This is the place where creation begins, not in the outer world of form, but in the inner world of belief. To hear nothing is to be invited into a relationship with the invisible. It is an invitation to understand that the laws which govern manifestation do not respond to loud demands or external proofs, but to quiet, persistent faith. When no sound reaches your ears, it is not because the universe is indifferent. It is because it is teaching you the value of trust without tangible validation. This kind of trust is rare and precious. It is the foundation of all miracles. The absence of audible answers forces you to embrace uncertainty with confidence. Instead of needing to know how or when your desire will be fulfilled, you learn to rest in the certainty that it will be fulfilled. This resting place is the heart of trust. It is a surrender of the need to control the outcome or to witness the process unfold. You come to realize that the external silence is actually a reflection of a deeper inner stillness, a stillness in which your faith can grow without interference. When you hear nothing, you are asked to listen with your heart rather than your ears. You are invited to tune into the quiet, knowing that your desire is already fulfilled. This knowing is not dependent on external circumstances or sensory confirmation. It is a direct communication from your subconscious mind, which holds the truth of your creative power. Your subconscious does not speak in words or sounds. It speaks in feelings, impressions, and unwavering certainty. To hear nothing outwardly is to give space for this inner voice to become clear and dominant. This invitation to trust also reveals a crucial truth. Manifestation is not always instantaneous or visible. Sometimes the universe is silent because it is aligning circumstances behind the scenes, working in ways beyond your comprehension. If you were to receive audible answers or signs too soon, you might rush or doubt the process. Silence encourages patience, endurance, and the deepening of belief. It teaches you that the invisible work happening inside you is as real and important as any external event. Faith, deepened beyond the senses, is a power that cannot be shaken by appearances. When nothing is heard, when no answer seems forthcoming, those who trust know that the silence is a sacred pause, a time of gestation for their desires. They know that in this quiet, the seeds of their dreams are growing, nourished by their unwavering belief. They understand that the absence of evidence is not evidence of absence, but an opportunity to fortify their conviction. In this state, you become a master of your inner world. You learn to dwell in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, regardless of what your senses report. This feeling is the language of faith, and it speaks louder and clearer than any external sound. To hear nothing is to be called into this higher state of consciousness, where trust is not a fragile hope, but an unshakable foundation. So when you find yourself in moments of silence, when your questions seem unanswered and your prayers unacknowledged, remember that this silence is an invitation to deepen your trust beyond what the senses can perceive. Embrace this moment as the sacred gateway to your faith's true power, for it is here, in the absence of noise, that your belief grows strongest and your desires move quietly but surely into manifestation. Faith is a subtle, gentle force, unlike the loud, clamoring voices of doubt and fear that often fill our minds. It is not a booming shout or a forceful demand that breaks through the noise of life. Instead, faith is a whisper, soft, quiet, and intimate. It is the still, small voice that calls to you from within, the gentle current beneath the surface of your consciousness that guides and sustains you. To truly understand faith, one must learn to listen with the heart rather than the ears, to feel it rather than expect it to be loudly proclaimed. True faith does not seek to dominate or overwhelm. It does not shout for attention or plead for proof. Instead, it moves quietly and steadily, like the wind brushing softly through the trees or the faint glow of dawn before the sun fully rises. This whisper of faith is more powerful than any shout because it arises from a place deeper than words, beyond reason, beyond evidence. It is a knowingness that dwells quietly but firmly within your being. When faith whispers, it invites you to lean in closer, to quiet your mind and open your heart. It does not force you to believe. It gently nudges you toward a deeper awareness of your own power to create your reality. It asks for your trust not through loud declarations, but through a tender, intimate connection with your inner self. This kind of faith does not depend on circumstances or external validation. It is felt as a calm assurance that everything is unfolding as it should, even when the world appears uncertain or chaotic. Faith as a whisper requires patience and attentiveness. Because it is so subtle, it can easily be drowned out by the louder voices of fear, anxiety, or impatience. Yet if you learn to cultivate stillness within, if you silence the inner turmoil, you will begin to perceive this gentle voice. It speaks not in commands or demands, but in feelings of peace, hope, and quiet confidence. It is a vibration of trust that resonates deep within your core. This whispering faith also reveals the sacred nature of belief itself. Belief is not a grand spectacle or a dramatic event. It is a quiet flame kindled in the soul. It grows not by shouting louder, but by being tended with care and attention. When you nurture faith in this way, it becomes a steadfast companion, unwavering in the face of doubt or delay. It is a presence that comforts you in the dark, a secret strength that holds you steady amid life's storms. Because faith is felt more than heard, it cannot be convincingly argued or logically explained. It transcends the mind's need for proof and lives instead in the realm of feeling and imagination. This is why faith must be cultivated internally, through the deliberate act of imagining the fulfillment of your desires, feeling the reality of what you wish to create. The whisper of faith grows louder, not in sound, but in the intensity and clarity of your inner conviction. This inner whisper is also a reminder of your intimate relationship with the creative power of the universe. It is the language through which your subconscious mind communicates its certainty that your desires are already fulfilled. The whisper assures you that the unseen forces are at work, moving quietly but surely to bring your dreams into form. It asks only that you listen, trust, and persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. In a world that often values loudness and immediacy, this soft faith can seem fragile or weak, but it is anything but. The whisper of faith is a mighty current that underlies all creation. It is the silent heartbeat of manifestation, the subtle signal that all is well and your desires are on their way. Those who learn to hear and trust this whisper find a peace and power that no shout can provide. So let faith be a whisper in your life. Let it be the quiet assurance that even in the absence of visible proof, your dreams are already coming to pass. Feel it deeply within your heart. Let it soothe your doubts and guide you gently toward the reality you are destined to create. Faith is not about making noise. It is about feeling the truth so profoundly that no external circumstance can shake it. It is the softest sound with the greatest power, the whisper that shapes your world. Deep within you lies a vast silent reservoir of knowing, your inner being. This is not the restless thinking mind that chases after facts or debates possibilities. It is the still, unchanging core of your existence, the eternal presence that holds all truth and all power. Your inner being is the source from which all creation flows, and it already knows the answer to every question, the solution to every problem, and the fulfillment of every desire you hold. But to hear this answer, you must enter into stillness, a sacred state, where the noise of the outer world and the chatter of your mind fall away, allowing you to connect with the deep wisdom of your subconscious. Stillness is the gateway to your inner being. When you quiet your thoughts and release the distractions of daily life, you create a space within yourself where the subconscious can speak freely. This stillness is not simply the absence of sound. It is the presence of peace, a calm and receptive state that opens the door to insight and inspiration. In this silence, you are no longer caught in the turbulence of doubt or fear. Instead, you are aligned with the eternal creative essence that knows exactly what is needed to bring your desires into form. Your subconscious mind is like fertile soil beneath the surface of your awareness. It is the unseen realm where seeds of imagination are planted, nurtured, and eventually brought forth as your reality. But just as a seed cannot grow in a storm, your creative desires cannot take root when your mind is overwhelmed with noise and distraction. The stillness connects you to this inner soil, allowing your thoughts and feelings to settle and your true intentions to emerge clearly and powerfully. In the silence of your inner being, you find not only answers, but the power to manifest those answers. This is because your subconscious does not separate thought from reality. It accepts without question the beliefs and feelings impressed upon it and works tirelessly to bring them into experience. When you consciously align with your inner being through stillness, You impress upon your subconscious the certainty of your desires fulfilled. This certainty becomes the invisible force that shapes your outer world. The answers you seek are not found through struggle or effort. They do not come from external advice or worldly logic alone. They arise naturally from your inner being when you are willing to listen deeply and patiently. The stillness you cultivate is the channel through which these answers flow, clear and unobstructed. It is the silent voice that speaks wisdom, guidance, and assurance that all is well, even when your outer senses may suggest otherwise. Connecting with your inner being also reminds you of your true identity, not as a limited physical form, but as an infinite creative presence. This realization empowers you to release fears and doubts, to surrender control, and to trust that the unseen intelligence within is orchestrating your life perfectly. In this surrender, you open the door to miracles and transformation, allowing the answers that your heart longs for to unfold naturally. Every moment you spend in stillness is an active alignment with this creative source. It is a declaration that you are ready to receive, to know, and to embody the truth that lies within you. This connection is not distant or mystical. It is intimate and immediate. Your inner being is always accessible, always present, waiting patiently for you to quiet your mind and come home to yourself. The answers you find in this sacred space of stillness often come as feelings, impressions, or subtle insights rather than loud proclamations. They resonate as a deep knowing, a gentle certainty that defies logic but satisfies the soul. Trust these inner promptings, for they are the language of your subconscious and the seeds of your manifested reality. In a world filled with distractions and noise, cultivating stillness is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. It reconnects you to your creative power, aligns you with your true desires, and reveals the answers that have been within you all along. When you embrace this silence, you step into a place where all creation begins, a place where your inner being reveals that the answers you seek are already yours, waiting patiently to be realized. Patience and trust are the sacred allies that bring you into harmony with divine timing. Often, when your desires remain unseen or your prayers unanswered, you may feel restless, anxious, or disheartened. Yet this very silence that seems like denial is actually a powerful form of preparation, an unseen unfolding of events working quietly in your favor. Divine timing is a perfect rhythm, beyond the grasp of human impatience or control. It operates on a plane where every moment, every delay, every silence has purpose and meaning, weaving together the tapestry of your life in ways you cannot yet comprehend. To trust in divine timing is to surrender the urgent need for immediate results. It is to accept that your desires are already fulfilled in the unseen realm, and that their manifestation will occur at the precise moment when all conditions are perfectly aligned. This trust is not passive resignation, but an active faith, a knowing that your inner being and the creative forces of the universe are orchestrating every detail with precision and care. The silence you encounter is not a rejection. It is a sacred pause, a time for your belief to deepen and your vision to sharpen. Patience is the soil in which trust grows strong. Without patience, doubt creeps in and the mind begins to question the reality of your dreams. But when you cultivate patience, you create a fertile ground for faith to take root and flourish. Patience teaches you to be still, to wait without worry, and to maintain the feeling of the wish fulfilled, even when your senses suggest delay. This waiting period is a vital part of creation. It is the time when the unseen world aligns all necessary elements, moves obstacles, and prepares the perfect conditions for your desire to appear in your physical reality. Silence in this context is not empty or meaningless. It is a powerful space where transformation takes place behind the scenes. The unseen forces that govern manifestation are at work in the quiet. They are moving circumstances, influencing people, and weaving invisible threads that will soon manifest as the visible outcome you long for. Recognizing silence as preparation rather than denial changes your perspective. It invites you to rest in faith rather than rush into frustration. I trust in divine timing also means relinquishing control. You release the urge to force outcomes, to rush the process, or to demand answers on your schedule. Instead, you align your heart with the rhythm of the universe, flowing gracefully with its natural pace. This alignment brings peace, a deep inner calm that transcends external delays or apparent obstacles. It is in this peace that your creative power expands and your manifestations gain strength. When you embrace patience and trust, you become a co-creator with the divine. You understand that your role is to imagine, feel, and believe while allowing the unseen to handle the details. This partnership with divine timing ensures that what you receive is not only what you desire, but what is best for your highest good, arriving in the perfect moment for maximum benefit. The universe is infinitely wise and benevolent. It never withholds your desires out of cruelty or neglect. The silence you face is a sign that things are unfolding as they must, often in ways more magnificent than you can currently imagine. The waiting period is a sacred workshop where your desires are shaped and refined before being presented to you in their fullest glory. Patience and trust empower you to maintain unwavering faith even when the outer world offers no proof. They teach you to honor the silence, to see it not as absence but as presence, a presence filled with unseen activity and divine intention. This mindset shifts you from frustration to peace, from doubt to confidence, and from desperation to joyful expectancy. So when you find yourself in the quiet spaces of waiting, remind yourself that silence is preparation. The unseen forces are working diligently in your favor, moving mountains and creating paths where none seem to exist. Your patience and trust align you perfectly with divine timing, ensuring that when your desire manifests, it does so with power, grace, and lasting fulfillment. Embrace this truth, rest in this faith, and watch as your life unfolds in beautiful and miraculous ways. The power to manifest your deepest desires lies in the unwavering persistence of feeling the wish fulfilled. It is not enough to simply want or hope for something. True creation comes when you embody the feeling that your desire is already real. This feeling is the language of the subconscious mind, the signal that impresses itself upon the invisible realm and brings your dreams into physical form, even when the world around you shows no signs, even when no evidence appears. You must hold fast to this inner knowing. Persistence in feeling is the key that unlocks the door between the invisible and the visible. It is natural for the senses to demand proof, to seek evidence in the form of signs, events, or changes in circumstance. But external appearances are often misleading, and the lack of visible progress can cause doubt to creep in. This is precisely the moment when many give up, losing faith just before the miracle manifests. Yet, the law of manifestation does not rely on immediate external confirmation. It operates consistently and silently in response to your inner state. When you persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you maintain alignment with the creative power within you, and your desire moves steadily closer to realization. Persisting in the feeling means living in the end, imagining and experiencing your desire as if it has already happened. It is a state of consciousness where your heart rejoices and your mind accepts the reality of what you want. This feeling is not superficial wishful thinking. It is a deep, sustained conviction. It is as if you are already living your fulfilled desire, and everything about you reflects that truth. This inner reality is far more potent than any outer circumstance, because it shapes the unseen forces that govern your life. To persist in this feeling, you must guard your imagination vigilantly. Do not allow fleeting doubts or negative thoughts to pull you away from the conviction you hold. Whenever uncertainty arises, return gently but firmly to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Use your imagination as a tool to recreate the scene of fulfillment. To live in that state, moment by moment, hold up in that state, moment by moment. Repetition of this inner act strengthens the impression upon your subconscious mind, which in turn works ceaselessly to bring about the external counterpart. Ivantananda. Evantag. The absence of signs is not failure, it is often the silence before the dawn. The world's timing is not your timing, and the universe knows when your desire will best serve your highest good. Persisting in feeling despite no outward evidence is a demonstration of faith, a faith that is not shaken by appearances but anchored in the certainty of the unseen. This faith is a magnetic force that draws your desire toward you. Persistence also refines your vibration. The longer you maintain the feeling of fulfillment, the more you become a match for the reality you seek. Like tuning a musical instrument to the correct pitch, your sustained feeling aligns you perfectly with the frequency of your desire. When you vibrate at this frequency, you become a beacon to the forces of creation, signaling that you are ready to receive what you have imagined. It is important to cultivate patience alongside persistence. Holding the feeling of the wish fulfilled requires calm endurance, the ability to remain steady when circumstances seem unchanged. The more you relax and allow yourself to feel as if the desire is already yours, the easier it becomes to persist. Resistance fades and you open yourself to receive. Your feelings are the seed, and persistence is the nurturing water that helps that seed grow. Without persistence, even the strongest feeling can wither and fade, but with steady attention and devotion, your inner conviction blossoms into reality. The manifestation process honors this persistence. It rewards those who hold their vision firmly until the invisible becomes visible. So no matter how long the wait or how silent the signs, hold fast to the knowing that your desire is accomplished. Persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, as if your life depends on it, because in truth, it does. This unwavering persistence is the bridge that connects your imagination to reality. It is the silent force that shapes your destiny and brings your dreams into the tangible world. In conclusion, when you find yourself in the silence of unanswered prayers or unmet expectations, remember that this quiet is not emptiness or neglect. It is the sacred whisper of faith, inviting you to trust beyond the senses, to embrace patience, and to persist in the feeling of your desires already fulfilled. This silence is the divine preparation where your inner being aligns with the unseen forces that are diligently working in your favor. It is here in this stillness that the deepest answers are known and the greatest manifestations begin. Fold. Let your heart be calm and your trust unwavering. Know that hearing nothing is, in fact, hearing the most profound message of all, that your faith is alive and active, quietly shaping your reality in perfect divine timing. Hold fast to this knowing and watch as your desires unfold in ways more magnificent than you could ever imagine. Thank you for allowing me to share this truth with you today. May you walk forward in faith, patience, and unwavering trust, knowing that all you seek is already yours. Massive wealth is coming, not by chance, not by effort, but by alignment. The world you experience is not separate from your inner convictions. If you assume poverty, the world echoes it. But the moment you assume wealth without need for validation, the doors begin to open. Not tomorrow, now. Do not try to make it happen. Let it happen by knowing it has already happened within. The one who waits for money delays it. The one who receives it inwardly, now, walks into its physical reflection without resistance. You've been trained to believe in effort and sweat, in the grind and the hustle, but the truth is, the treasure was always buried in your mind. Your imagination is the soil, your belief is the seed. The harvest comes when you cease to dig up what you've planted. Massive wealth comes to the one who is open to receive, not the one who is desperate to find. What does that mean? It means you must unclench the fists of fear. Stop looking around for signs. The sign is the inner feeling of security. The sign is your calm. The sign is your certainty when the outer world has not changed, yet you walk like one who owns everything. You receive not when you beg. You receive not when you chase. You receive when you relax into the knowing that all things are drawn to the one who already has them in consciousness. If you want to manifest abundance, stop thinking like one who lacks. Stop speaking like one who waits. Become it in your mind first, and the world has no choice. It must bring to you the very image you carry inside. You do not need to make anything happen. It's not your job to figure it out. Stay open. Stay relaxed. Stay in the state of quiet gratitude, as if your account is already overflowing, as if the opportunities are already calling your name, as if the mansion has already been paid for. When you begin to think like that, when you begin to rest in the truth that you are the source of your wealth, not the world, you become magnetic and the world rushes to deliver what you never chased. So I say again, massive wealth is coming. Your only task, stay open, stay still, stay certain, and receive. Assume it and it shall be so. This is not a poetic suggestion, it is a law. When you assume wealth, not as something you chase, but something that already belongs to you, you unlock a hidden passageway within consciousness that leads straight to the manifestation of riches. The reason most people never taste true abundance is because they do not dare to assume it is theirs. They believe they must qualify for it, earn it, struggle endlessly to achieve it. But wealth is not something earned through striving. It is something revealed through belief. The mind, when disciplined, becomes the womb of creation. It receives no rewards for effort unless that effort is directed toward imagining correctly. When you assume wealth, you are not pretending, you are accepting. You are declaring within yourself, I am already rich. And this declaration begins to form a new identity, one that the outer world must eventually reflect. The world does not deliver to you what you beg for. It gives you what you are. And you are what you assume. Most live in the assumption of lack. They wake up worrying about bills, speaking about limitations, making decisions from fear. They are not poor because the world is unfair. They are poor because they identify with poverty. They wear scarcity like a second skin, and then they wonder why abundance never comes near. The law is perfect. Whatever you believe yourself to be, so you shall receive. To assume wealth is to feel, speak, and move as though the outcome is settled. Not someday, not when conditions improve, but now. It is to walk into the room with quiet confidence, not because your bank account is overflowing, but because your spirit is. It is to know that you are the root of your reality, not the economy, not your job, not your past. Your assumption rewrites every outcome. This power is available to everyone, yet few will claim it. Why? Because assumption feels like imagination, and the world has taught you to ignore imagination, to dismiss it as child's play. But what they call make-believe was always make reality. Every structure, every fortune, every invention that exists today began as an assumption. Someone dared to believe it was real, before it appeared. When you say to yourself, wealth is mine, you are not lying. You are creating. You are authoring a new chapter from the inside out. The mind doesn't need physical proof to begin. It needs only your permission. And when you consistently return to the state of already having, the world slowly reshapes itself to fit your vision. This is not fantasy. This is spiritual law. Your inner state commands the outer world, not the other way around. But you must remain loyal to your assumption, even when circumstances scream otherwise, especially then. Because assumption is not about reacting to what is, but choosing what must be. What if you started each day with the quiet assurance that everything you need is already within reach? What if you spend less time trying to earn wealth and more time being wealth in consciousness? You would speak differently, you would carry yourself differently, and yes, people and opportunities would respond to you differently. It is your assumption that opens the floodgates. Not your hard work, not your networking, not your qualifications. Those things are tools. But the key is always within. Assume it is yours. Now, live from the end. Let your inner conversation change. Let your self-image rise. Wealth is not coming to the one who waits. It comes to the one who dares to believe it's already here. Assume it, own it, and watch as the invisible becomes inevitable. Struggle is not the path to your desires, it is the resistance that delays them. Many have been taught that to get what you want, you must fight, chase, strive, and hustle. But that is not how true manifestation works. What you chase, you confess you do not have. What you struggle for, you push away with your very effort. The secret is not in trying harder, it is in knowing deeper. When you drop the struggle, you are not giving up, you are stepping into alignment. You are releasing the illusion that effort alone will produce miracles. True creation happens in the unseen first. And in that invisible realm, effort is not currency. Belief is. Belief is still, belief is quiet. Belief is calm. It does not clench its fists or raise its voice. It simply knows. And that knowing becomes a magnet, pulling the unseen into the seen. At the moment you stop trying to make things happen and begin resting in the truth that they already have, everything changes. You begin to move with peace. You speak with certainty. You walk with the quiet confidence of one who is not waiting but receiving. You understand that manifestation is not the result of struggle, but the fruit of surrender. Surrender to the truth that all you desire is already yours, if you would only allow it. This is the power of stillness. Stillness is not passive. It is powerful. It is the womb of all creation. In stillness, the mind becomes clear. The heart becomes steady. You are no longer reacting to the world. You are creating it. You become a conscious architect of reality, not a servant to circumstances. Most people live in contradiction. They affirm abundance but panic over bills. They declare love but obsess over rejection. They visualize success but wrestle with doubt. This tug of war creates noise, and where there is noise, there is no clarity. Where there is no clarity, there is no manifestation. But when you enter the stillness of belief, the noise fades. Doubt dissolves. You are no longer waiting. You are dwelling in the result. You cannot fake this stillness. It does not come from words. It comes from awareness. It comes from stepping back from the chaos of how and when and returning to the center of I know. Knowing does not look for signs. It is the sign. Knowing does not seek evidence. You may ask, how can I just know when nothing around me has changed? The answer is simple, because everything begins within. If you can feel it real, you have already received it. If you can dwell in the end, the process will take care of itself. You do not need to chase after what belongs to you. You need only to prepare your heart to receive it. There is a sacredness in stillness that effort will never reach. A man in struggle is disconnected from the source, but the one who rests in trust becomes one with it. He no longer begs, he no longer explains, he no longer proves, he receives, he accepts, he is. Let go of the idea that your effort will force the door open. The door is already unlocked. It opens inward, into your imagination, into your belief, into your quiet inner knowing. The more you struggle, the more you stand in your own way. But the moment you stop fighting and say it is done, the entire universe rearranges itself to reflect your conviction. Let the stillness speak. Let it guide you. Let it carry you into the version of yourself who no longer wishes but has. The version who no longer chases but attracts. The version who no longer doubts but knows. Drop the struggle, embrace the knowing, and receive what was always yours. Receiving is often misunderstood. Most think it is something you do with your hands, something physical, external, or transactional. But the act of receiving begins long before the money arrives, before the relationship appears, before the opportunity shows up at your door. True receiving is invisible. It is mental. It is the inner posture of one who has already accepted what they desire as theirs. You do not receive when something shows up. You receive the moment you accept it inwardly. The outer world only echoes the inner acceptance. If you reject it mentally, if you think it's too big, too impossible, too late, then even if the door opens, you won't walk through it. You will hesitate, you will doubt, you will sabotage it. Why? Because your outer life can never go beyond what you are willing to receive on the inside. This is why openness to receive is not about action, it is about identity. Who are you when no one is watching? Do you see yourself as the one who has, or the one who is always waiting? Because the one who waits never receives. They postpone, they delay, they put the blessing into the future. But the one who receives now says, "It is mine," and lives accordingly. To receive, you must feel worthy, not in a prideful way, but in a quiet, settled, unshakable way. Worthiness is not earned, it is recognized. You must recognize that the universe, God, or the divine source does not withhold from you. There is no external judge deciding whether you get what you desire. You are the only one with the power to open or close the gates. And that power is exercised not through effort, but through allowance. You must allow abundance. You must allow love. You must allow breakthrough. This allowance does not mean passivity. It means alignment. It means stepping into the mental and emotional state of already having. It is not pretending, it is preparing. When you receive invisibly, you shift everything. Your tone changes, your decisions change. You no longer act out of fear or desperation. You act from a place of completion. This invisible act of receiving is deeply personal. No one can do it for you, and no one can see when it's done, but the results are visible. The changes come suddenly, people begin treating you differently, money flows unexpectedly. Opportunities align themselves, not because you forced them, but because you received them in your mind and heart before they came. The mind is the true place of transaction. Every blessing, every breakthrough begins in thought. If you can hold it there, consistently, confidently, quietly, the outer world must reflect it. But most people entertain doubt. They say, "I want wealth," while imagining themselves broke. They say, "I want love," while feeling unlovable. That is not receiving, that is resisting. Receiving feels like peace. It feels like gratitude before the gift arrives. It feels like walking with open hands, not clenched fists. It is trusting without needing to control. It is knowing without needing constant reassurance. It is resting in the awareness that all is already well. So ask yourself, not what you're doing to attract what you want, but what you are believing. What are you assuming to be true? Because if your assumption is rooted in lack, no amount of action can override it. But if your assumption is rooted in wholeness and trust, even silence becomes powerful. You were not created to chase blessings, you were created to receive them. But you must do it first in the unseen, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And when you do, nothing can stop the reflection from appearing. Receiving is not loud, it is not dramatic, it is invisible, yet unstoppable. It is the quiet shift that changes everything. Receive now, within, and the rest will follow. Imagination is not fantasy. It is the creative force behind everything you call real. Every structure, every invention, every empire that exists in the world was first constructed in the unseen realm of thought. The fortune you desire, the wealth you seek, the life you dream of, it must be built in imagination first. This is not wishful thinking, it is a spiritual law. If you see it in your mind clearly and dwell in that vision, the world is compelled to mirror it. The problem is not lack of opportunity, it is lack of vision. Most people are waiting for circumstances to give them permission to dream. They wait for the bank account to grow before feeling abundant. Wait for the job before seeing themselves as successful. Wait for evidence before believing. But that is backwards. The outer world only reflects what the inner world dares to imagine with clarity and consistency. Your imagination is your divine workshop. It is where you design the details of your reality. And it is not limited by your current conditions, past failures, or present bank balance. It answers to one thing alone: your belief. When you imagine vividly and combine that vision with feeling, you begin to embody a new state of being. And that state is what life responds to. The world does not react to your needs, it reacts to your internal state. To build a fortune, you must first see the fortune, not as something that might come one day, but as something that already exists within your consciousness. You must walk in that mansion in your mind. You must see the numbers rising in your account. You must feel the freedom of the life you desire. The clearer your vision, the stronger the magnetic pull. Vague dreams produce vague results. But a precise and emotionally charged image will bend reality to meet it. This is how creation works. You are not begging life to change. You are instructing it through imagination. You are not asking for riches. You are claiming them by dwelling in their end result. Every time you close your eyes and return to your inner picture of wealth, you are reinforcing a pattern. That pattern becomes dominant, and what is dominant within will soon become dominant without. Many doubt the power of imagination because they cannot measure it. They think creation is only valid when it is visible. But every visible thing was once invisible. Every fortune began as an image in the mind of its creator. Nothing you desire is beyond your reach if you can reach it first in your imagination. You do not need to know how it will happen. The how is not your responsibility. Your role is to persist in the vision, to return to it daily, not as an escape from reality, but as a way to shape it. Your inner world is not separate from your outer world. They are two sides of the same coin. One follows the other like a shadow. Doubt is the only enemy of imagination. When you imagine wealth, but then entertain fear, comparison, or unworthiness, you break the flow. You distort the picture. That's why the act of imagining must be sacred and protected. Let it be something you nourish, not something you abandon. Let it be the most vivid part of your day. Imagination is not childish. It is the highest faculty of creation. The greatest architects, inventors, and visionaries used it before they ever laid a single brick or spoke a single word. They saw it within, and the world had no choice but to follow. So take time daily. Close your eyes. Step into the life you desire. Feel the wealth. Walk in it. Touch it. Be it. And let that inner scene become so familiar, so real, so magnetic that the world must obey. Because if you see it in your mind clearly, the world must mirror it. It is law. The greatest trap that delays wealth is the obsession with how it will come. The logical mind demands a path, a sequence, a visible plan. It wants every step to make sense. But wealth, like all true manifestations, does not arrive through logic. It arrives through faith. Faith does not require evidence. Faith is the evidence. It does not look to the world for confirmation, it creates the world's response. When you focus on how it will happen, you enter a state of control. You begin to calculate, to force, to second guess. This state of tension and overthinking disrupts the very energy that calls abundance toward you. Because wealth is not a result of strain, it is a result of surrender. Not surrender in the sense of giving up, but surrender as in letting go of the need to control every detail. The path to your desire is not your business. Your business is to decide what you want and embody the feeling of already having it. The how belongs to the deeper intelligence, the unseen force, the divine orchestration of life that moves in ways the conscious mind could never comprehend. When you try to force the path, you limit the possibilities. When you let go, you open yourself to miracles. Wealth comes through unexpected channels. It shows up when you are in alignment, not when you are in panic. It flows to those who trust in their inner state more than the outer evidence. This is what it means to walk by faith. You decide it is done and you act, think, and feel in harmony with that decision, even if nothing around you has changed yet. That is power. Most delay their blessings because they're stuck in their heads. They wonder if they should change jobs, start a business, invest here or there. And while these choices matter, they are not the source of wealth. They are only vehicles. And the vehicle will only appear once the internal signal is clear. That signal is faith, not doubt, peace, not pressure. If you truly believed wealth was yours, you wouldn't worry about how it's coming. You would prepare your life to receive it. You would speak differently. You would walk with confidence. You would make room for it. That is what detachment from the how looks like. Not laziness, but trust. Not passivity, but spiritual authority. You stop trying to control the route, and you focus on staying in the vibration of having. Detach, not because you don't care, but because you know it's already handled. Detach, because clinging delays. The one who clings believes it's not here yet, but the one who knows it is already theirs moves differently. They are not checking the bank account every hour. They are not obsessing over timing. They are living the outcome internally until the world has no choice but to conform. Faith is a language the universe understands. It is not blind hope. It is bold inner conviction. And that conviction, when held without interruption, bends reality to fit its mold. You are not here to figure everything out. You are here to create with your consciousness, to see the end in your imagination and let life fill in the rest. So stop asking how. Start trusting now. Stop watching the clock. Start walking in the feeling. Start trying to force open doors. Start preparing as if the doors are already open. Detach from the how, because the how is the language of limitation. And you were never meant to be limited. You are a channel for infinite wealth. If only you would stop narrowing the way it must arrive. Wealth will not come the way you think. It will come the way you believe. Let that be enough. Let faith lead, and the how will reveal itself without effort. And wishing is not the same as receiving. To wish is to stand outside the thing you desire, hoping one day it will arrive. But to dwell in the state where the wish is fulfilled is to claim it now, to live in the feeling of it already being yours. This is the key to manifestation, not to long for what you want, but to become the one who already has it. Everything changes when you make this shift. You stop asking and you start assuming. You stop hoping and you begin being. Because what you do not assume, you cannot hold. What you do not feel real, you will never attract. The universe is not responding to your words or your desperate prayers. It is responding to the state you live in. And that state is determined not by what you say you want, but by who you believe you are. Most people live in the state of lack, even while they affirm abundance. They speak of prosperity but feel broke. They visualize love but feel lonely. They script success but identify with failure. And so their words and their reality remain at odds. You must align not just your speech, but your state, your inner dwelling place. To stay in the state of the one who already has means you walk, talk, think, and act as though your desire has already been fulfilled. This isn't pretending, this is powerful consciousness work. Pretending comes from fear. Dwelling in the end comes from certainty. When you dwell in the end, you no longer need signs, because the feeling itself is the evidence. You no longer need timelines, because the experience of already having erases the need for waiting. In that state, you stop asking if it's coming. You know it is. More than that, you know it has. Living in this fulfilled state is subtle but radical. It means you make decisions from abundance, not scarcity. You hold conversations as one who is blessed, not one who is waiting to be blessed. You stop reacting to what the world shows you and start responding from the reality you've already accepted within. Life begins to mirror your conviction. People treat you differently. Opportunities recognize your signal. This is not about arrogance. This is about alignment. When you live in the end, you are not demanding reality to bend. You are allowing it to reflect what you have already accepted as truth. The world is a mirror. It must show you who you are being. If you are being the version of yourself who has what they want, then life will have no choice but to match that inner identity. It may feel unnatural at first. Your senses will scream, it's not here yet, but you must go deeper than the senses. You must override the external noise with the internal knowing. That's where true power lives, not in reacting to the seen, but in trusting the unseen. This is why many fail to manifest. They visit the state of the wish fulfilled, but they don't stay there. They allow fear, doubt, or impatience to pull them back into the old self. But if you would remain in the state of already having, if you would refuse to leave that consciousness no matter what appears outside, then your world would shift, not by force, not by effort, but by law. Because life must match your dominant state, not your passing thoughts, not your temporary affirmations, but your sustained inner dwelling. So stop wishing, stop waiting, step into the version of yourself who already has it. Feel what they feel, think as they think, speak as they speak, live as they live. Stay there. Remain faithful to that state. And what once felt far away will be drawn near, not by chance, but by design. Because the wish, when fully accepted, is no longer a wish, it is reality. Massive wealth is not something you chase, it is something you allow. It flows not to the one who tries the hardest, but to the one who believes the deepest. When you assume it is already yours, when you drop the struggle and rest in knowing, when you receive inwardly and let imagination build the vision, the outer world must respond. It cannot resist the power of a mind anchored in faith. Detach from the how. Remain in the state of the one who already has. You are never meant to beg for blessings. You are meant to embody them. Stay open, stay aligned, and stay faithful to your inner world. Because the fortune you seek is not coming from outside, it is rising from within. Thank you for listening. May your mind stay elevated, your heart stay open, and your life overflow with the abundance that is already yours. There is no distance between you and wealth, except the illusion of time and disbelief. The moment you remove both, manifestation becomes immediate. This is not wishful thinking, this is spiritual law. And when you truly understand it, wealth can appear in your world in just 2 days or less. You do not need to become wealthy, you already are. Your only task is to remove the layers of identity that keep you from seeing this truth. Think of it this way. You are standing in a room full of treasure, but the lights are off. The wealth is not far, it is just unseen. The moment you flick the switch of assumption, the riches become visible. 2 days is not too short. For the unseen, 2 days is eternity. The moment you saturate your mind with the feeling of already being wealthy, already having more than enough, your world begins to mold itself around that belief. How do you do it? Withdraw your attention from what is and place it entirely on what you have declared to be yours. You must refuse to entertain lack even for a moment. You must walk, speak, breathe, and think as though your reality has shifted. Because it has. It simply hasn't caught up to your senses yet. And what are your senses, if not the echo of an old belief? Ignore them. Do not wait for confirmation. Be the confirmation. Assume the tone of wealth. Feel the softness of abundance. Smile at the balance that you cannot yet see, but know is already on its way. The outer follows the inner without fail. The only thing that delays it is your tendency to peek, to doubt, to question the how. But the how is not your concern. The state is, the feeling is, the imagination is. For 2 days, become obsessed, not with money, but with the version of you who no longer craves it, the one who has it, the one who gives generously, thinks limitlessly, and sleeps peacefully. If you can dwell in that identity for 48 hours without stepping out of it, you will witness what others call miracles. The world will mirror your new conviction, opportunities will emerge, messages will arrive, solutions will unfold. You will not need to chase, you will attract. You will not strive, you will allow. Your work is not to push, but to believe. Your tool is not effort, but awareness. In just 2 days of radical inner conviction, you can collapse time, you can bend the rules, you can rewrite your financial destiny. Why? Because you are the author. Always have been. You do not need to chase wealth. Earn it in the way the world tells you, or struggle to force it into your life. The truth is far simpler and far more powerful. Wealth is not something created from the outside. It is something revealed from within. You are not becoming rich. You are waking up to the fact that you already are. There exists within you a version of yourself who lacks nothing, a self who lives abundantly, thinks limitlessly, and walks through life with complete ease and financial freedom. That self is not a fantasy. It is a reality in the unseen, a spiritual reality waiting for your recognition. The only reason you do not see the wealth in your current experience is because you have not yet fully identified with the version of yourself who already has it. The world teaches you to earn, to hustle, to work hard for years to receive scraps of abundance, but spiritual law reveals another path. Assume the state and the state will express itself. Everything begins within. You do not manifest wealth by striving, but by becoming. You become it internally first, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Then the outer world simply reveals what you've already accepted as true. When you finally understand that wealth is a state of consciousness, you stop trying to make things happen. You stop begging reality to change. Instead, you shift your identity, you align your thoughts, your feelings, and your assumptions with the version of yourself who is already wealthy. You begin to think how they would think. You feel how they would feel. You respond to life with the confidence and calm of someone who knows there is always more than enough. Respond to life by the connections and confidence of those who, many of them, hope they would always be enough. In that moment, everything changes. The veil of lack lifts, and you begin to perceive new pathways, new people, new opportunities that were always there, but hidden from your view, while you lived in the consciousness of limitation. It is not that these things suddenly appeared. They were revealed, uncovered by the light of your new awareness. Wealth then is not a reward. It is a reflection. It is not something given, it is something realized. The riches you desire are already part of your divine inheritance, coded into your spiritual DNA. But they can only become visible when you claim them in consciousness. You don't get wealthy by doing more. You get wealthy by knowing more, by knowing the truth of who you really are. When you remember your power, when you live from the end, when you no longer negotiate with doubt or delay, the outer world must obey your inner command. All transformation is a return. You are not chasing a life that is far away. You are waking up to the life that's been yours all along. You are not manifesting from emptiness, but from fullness, from the infinite reservoir of supply that lives within. Wealth is not far, it is not distant, it is simply dormant. The moment you stop striving and start remembering, the revelation begins. And in that sacred revelation, everything you've ever desired comes rushing forward, not as a surprise, but as a confirmation of what you finally dared to believe. Time, as you understand it, is only relevant to the senses. It exists to give structure to a physical world that is governed by seasons, cycles, and clocks. But in the unseen, the true reality, time holds no authority. What you call a process, the infinite knows as a moment. What you call too soon, the unseen recognizes as now. There is no delay in the spiritual realm, only your assumption of delay. When you understand this, you stop asking how long it will take. You stop calculating hours, days, and weeks, and begin asking a more powerful question. How deeply am I willing to assume that it is already done? Because it is not time that delivers the result. It is your inner state. You could live in the wish unfulfilled for years, or you could enter the feeling of fulfillment for 2 days and change everything. There is no difference between 2 days and 2 years, except your belief about what's possible. The infinite does not need time to rearrange the elements of your world. It does not work according to logic or effort. It works through alignment. Once you are aligned with the state of the wish fulfilled, completely, unquestionably, and emotionally, time bends, compresses, even disappears. 2 days is not too soon for the infinite. In fact, it may be all that is required if your assumption is pure, sustained, and unwavering. But here lies the challenge. Can you hold the state? Can you dwell for 48 hours in the knowing that it is already yours without contradicting it by checking, doubting, or wishing? Can you resist the urge to peek, to question, to ask if it's working? This is not about performance. It is about persistence. Not outer persistence, but inner stillness, a settled heart, an unwavering imagination, a spirit that refuses to move from the end. if you can live as if it has already happened, if you can walk, speak, and feel from that place, then the law must respond. It has no choice. It mirrors your assumption. The outer world always takes the shape of your dominant inner state. So if for just 2 days you choose to embody wealth, to dwell in abundance, to trust that everything is unfolding now, not later, not someday, but now, you will find that circumstances shift without warning. Unexpected money arrives, old doors open, new paths form, not because you made it happen, but because you finally stopped blocking what was already yours. Time becomes irrelevant when you operate from the end. You are no longer waiting, you are welcoming. You are not hoping, you are knowing. You are not asking, you are claiming. Understand this truth deeply. The infinite is not slow, it is precise. It does not delay, it delivers exactly when your assumption is complete. 2 days of total belief can do more than 2 decades of effort. So if you desire rapid change, the key is not urgency, but surrender. Not rushing, but resting. In the fulfilled feeling of your desire, the clock does not run your life, your consciousness does. So step into the end, hold it for 2 days without interruption, and watch how fast the world begins to obey. To live in the end means to dwell in the result, to reside in the consciousness of your fulfilled desire, without waiting for external proof. It is the secret known only to those who create reality rather than react to it. When you live in the end of the wealthy version of yourself, you are not trying to become rich. You are already rich in your imagination, in your emotions, in your identity, and the world must conform to that assumption. This is not a mental game or wishful daydreaming, it is a radical shift in consciousness. You no longer think about what it would be like to have wealth. You think from it. You no longer hope for a better life. You begin to embody the one who already lives that life. You speak as they would speak, move as they would move, rest as they would rest. You don't pursue it, you possess it in your inner world. Why is this so powerful? Because your world is not responding to your wishes. It is responding to your state. Every moment you are occupying a state of being, and that state is what the universe mirrors back to you. If you live in lack, even while dreaming of abundance, the result you will experience is still lack. But if you inhabit abundance inwardly, if you feel from the place of already having it, then abundance becomes inevitable. This is why you must feel from the result, not toward it. To feel toward it is to reinforce the absence. It is to say, it's not here yet, but I hope it comes. That posture delays the very thing you desire. But to feel from the result is to say, it is done. I am it. I have it. And that posture is irresistible to the creative power of the universe. It must reflect that back to you. Ask yourself, how would I feel if money were no longer an issue? What thoughts would I think if I already had everything paid off? If I already lived in my dream home? If my accounts were overflowing? Let those thoughts dominate your inner dialogue. Let those feelings be the atmosphere of your being. You are not imagining for fun, you are imagining to rewire your reality. Living in the end is the act of becoming before seeing. It is faith in motion, it is trust without evidence, and it is the fastest way to change your outer world. The moment you make the inner shift and truly claim the state of being wealthy, you set into motion a series of events that will shock you with their precision. Resources appear, people align, circumstances shift, and it's not because you worked harder, but because you finally believed. Don't wait for money to feel secure. Feel secure now. Don't wait for success to feel confident. Embody that confidence today. Don't wait for validation. Validate yourself with the awareness of who you already are in the unseen. You are not manifesting wealth, you are remembering it. You are awakening to the version of you who always had it. And the moment you live in the end, without contradiction, without stepping back into the old story, the world will rise up to meet your new identity. Imagination is the womb of reality. Everything you see, touch, and experience in your outer world was first born in the invisible realm of thought and feeling. But it is not enough to simply imagine. Many people imagine wealth, success, and freedom, yet see no change in their lives. Why? Because their imagination is not fused with certainty. It is poisoned by doubt, and doubt delays. You cannot hold two opposing beliefs and expect manifestation to be swift. The power of imagination is activated through conviction, not curiosity. To imagine a thing and then question its arrival is to plant a seed and immediately dig it up, wondering if it's growing. Imagination must be steady. It must be occupied by certainty, by the unwavering assumption that what you see within is more real than what you see without. Understand this: the outer world is simply the reflection of your inner state. It is not the cause, but the effect. When your imagination is filled with pictures of abundance, but your heart is filled with questions and hesitation, the signal becomes mixed. The universe responds not to your desire, but to your belief. If belief wavers, manifestation wavers. If certainty stands firm, reality bends to meet it. This is why the greatest creators live from the knowing that it is done. They do not wait for signs, they do not need reassurance. They create in the unseen and rest in that creation. Imagination is their blueprint, and faith is the foundation. Together they collapse time and bring forth results that defy logic. You must become still enough to hear the inner voice that says, "It is already yours." Then you must trust that voice more than the noise of the world. You must protect your inner vision from the interference of circumstance. Circumstances are not permanent. They are projections of old beliefs. Your task is not to analyze them, but to replace them with new ones born from certainty. So ask yourself, is your imagination directed by faith or hijacked by fear? Do you spend more time visualizing success or worrying about failure? Because both are acts of imagination. One creates and the other destroys. You cannot afford to doubt, not if you want speed, not if you want results that seem supernatural. When your imagination becomes occupied by certainty, your energy shifts. You begin to think, speak, and act in alignment with the version of you who already has what they desire. And because the world is a mirror, it reflects that confidence right back to you in the form of resources, relationships, and opportunities. Faith is not passivity. It is an active choice to persist in your vision, no matter what appears to be. It is the bold declaration, "What I have imagined is more real to me than what I see." And that kind of imagination, rooted in certainty, moves mountains. So hold your image, protect it, nourish it with conviction. Walk through the day with the quiet inner knowing that all you've seen within is already forming without. For the one who imagines with faith, manifestation is not a matter of if, but when. And often that when comes faster than the world says is possible. The greatest secret to manifesting wealth is not found in endless action, hustle, or external effort. It lies in something far quieter, more internal, yet infinitely more powerful: assumption. You are not here to fight for abundance. You are here to assume the identity of the one who already lives it, and allow the outer world to mirror that identity back to you. The power is never in the action. The power is always in the state you occupy while taking it. Assumption is the silent force that governs manifestation. It is the quiet inner stance that says, "I already am, I already have, I already live it." When you move through life with that consciousness, life cannot help but yield to you. You are no longer trying to become, you are. And that difference changes everything. Too many people live in the illusion that they must earn their way into wealth as though money were a reward for effort. But the truth is, effort without alignment leads to frustration. You can work night and day, take all the courses, try all the strategies, and still remain stuck if your assumption contradicts your desire. The world is not responding to what you want. It is responding to what you believe yourself to already be. If you assume wealth, your words change, your posture changes, your energy becomes still and confident. You begin to walk through life with the ease of someone who is not trying to prove anything. There is no begging in your spirit, no desperation in your tone. You radiate ownership, and that energy draws in opportunities, people, and ideas that match it. Assumption is not about pretending, it is about embodying. You are not faking it, you are awakening to it. You are remembering that what you seek is already yours in the unseen, and your assumption is the bridge that brings it into form. The moment you take possession of that identity, life must follow. This is why assumption is more powerful than action. Actions can lie. You can do all the right things from a place of fear, insecurity, or lack and receive nothing. But assumption cannot lie. It is the root, the vibration, the blueprint. When assumption is pure, the actions that flow from it are effortless and inspired. They are not born of struggle but of knowing. You do not move to get results, you move because results are inevitable. So let go of the need to grind your way into abundance. Stop measuring your progress by how hard you're working. Begin instead to measure by how deeply you've assumed the truth of who you are. Begin each day not by asking, "What must I do?" but by declaring, "This is who I am." The wealthy version of you is not someone far off in the distance. It is already alive within you. The moment you stop trying to reach it and instead assume it as your reality, everything changes. Life bends, money flows, doors open, not because you chased them, but because you became the one who attracts them. Assumption is your true power. Use it. Let the world conform. Let results come to you, not as a surprise, but as a reflection of what you've dared to believe. You have been told that success takes years, that wealth comes only to those who hustle endlessly, grind tirelessly, and sacrifice everything. But that is only true for those who believe it. In truth, your outer world does not respond to effort alone. It responds to inner conviction, the invisible knowing, the spiritual certainty that what you desire is already yours. And if you can hold that conviction purely, unwaveringly for just 48 hours, 2 full days, the physical realm will begin to shape itself around your belief. This is not about doing more. It is about being more rooted, more certain, more aligned. It is about stepping into a reality within and refusing to step out of it. You are not chasing wealth. You are not begging for it. You are declaring it done and choosing to remain in the atmosphere of that decision, regardless of what the senses say. 2 days of total assumption can undo years of fear-based striving. Because the spiritual law is not activated by time, but by truth. The moment your belief becomes unshakable, the bridge of incidents begins to form. Not because you earned it through labor, but because you commanded it through alignment. Ask yourself, can I hold the vision for just 2 days? Can I silence the inner noise, ignore appearances, and dwell entirely in the consciousness of the wealthy version of myself? Not visiting it from time to time, but living there, breathing there, speaking from there. This kind of persistence is rare not because it's difficult, but because most people are addicted to checking their current reality. They plant the seed of desire, but dig it up with doubt. They declare abundance, but contradict it with worry an hour later. They say, "I am wealthy," and then spend the rest of the day wondering how the money will come. But if, for 48 hours, you can live in the end without interruption, you will witness power that most never touch. You will become magnetic. People, ideas, and opportunities will begin to show up without effort. The world will appear to bend in your favor because it must. It cannot disobey the one who has assumed the state completely. This is not about forcing results. It's about surrendering to what is already done. You do not demand manifestation, you align with it. An alignment is immediate when belief is pure. You could wait 10 years for something, and it may never come. Or you could spend 2 days in total conviction and watch it unfold before you. Do not underestimate what happens when you stop wobbling between states, when you stop hoping and start knowing, when you move from wishing to being. That shift is everything, and it is the key to accelerated manifestation. So test it. For 2 days, refuse to leave the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Wake up in it. Walk in it. Speak from it. Fall asleep in it. And no matter what comes, no matter how ordinary things may look, hold your ground. Because if you do, the physical realm will obey. It has no choice but to reflect the one who dares to believe that it is already so. Wealth is not something you chase. It is something you reveal by aligning with the version of you who already possesses it. In just 2 days, if you can persist in the state of inner knowing without allowing doubt to disrupt your assumption, life will begin to shift in ways that appear miraculous. You are not dependent on time, effort, or chance. You are only dependent on your state of being. Assume the wealth. Live in the end. Let your imagination be filled with certainty, and trust that the unseen moves faster than anything you could accomplish through hustle alone. 2 days of unwavering belief is enough to open the floodgates of abundance. Not because of what you do, but because of who you decide to be. So stay there. Dwell there. For just 48 hours, claim your wealth, not as a hope, but as a fact. The moment you stop reaching for it and start being it, the physical world will respond. It always does. Sincerely, thank you for listening. May these words take root, awaken your awareness, and usher in the wealth that has always belonged to you. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel the stillness. Beneath the noise of the world, something is happening, something sacred. Everything around you is shifting, rearranging, and aligning, not by chance, but by the movement of the unseen hand. You've prayed. You've waited. And now everything is about to multiply, not because of your effort alone, but because of the one who responds to belief. Multiplication doesn't come when you beg for it. It comes when you embody the state of already having it. That's the law. That's the truth. That you don't need more signs. You don't need more proof. The stirring you feel within is the only sign you'll ever need. That nudge, that inner knowing, that's how the divine operates. Quietly, precisely, faithfully. You may have been looking at your life and seeing nothing but stillness, maybe even drought. But even in drought, the roots grow deep. Even in silence, the voice of God speaks. And when His hand begins to move, the multiplication is not gradual, it is sudden. It is complete. It is miraculous. Everything you've imagined, every vision you've held in your heart was not a fantasy. It was a preview. And the one who gave you the desire also gave you the means to fulfill it. Through assumption, through inner conviction, through the divine act of feeling it done. It is not your job to figure out the how. It is not your duty to trace every step. That belongs to the unseen force that governs all. Your only task is to become it now. Act as if it were already so. Think from the end, not of it. When you do, something ancient is activated. A holy multiplication begins, not in your bank account first, not in your relationships first, but in your awareness. And once it is multiplied in spirit, the world has no choice but to echo it. You are not forgotten. You are not behind. You are being multiplied in silence. So bless the quiet seasons. Honor the unseen labor. Rejoice in what you cannot yet explain. For it is written in spirit before it is revealed in form. God's hand is moving, not to subtract, not to divide, but to multiply. Your peace, your joy, your resources, your calling. Stand in that knowing. Speak as one who already has. Walk as one who is already blessed. The evidence is coming, but the feeling is the first miracle. The invisible is turning visible. The seeds you've planted in faith are breaking through the surface. The door you once knocked on has been opened wide. And now, everything is about to multiply, because when God moves, He multiplies. God demands and requires everything in your life. What you call reality is but the echo of what you have accepted within. The world is not happening to you, it is responding to you. Not your words, not your effort, but your inner acceptance. This is the secret. Multiplication does not begin with things, it begins in consciousness. You may think that more money, more success, more love must appear before you can feel abundant. But the truth is the opposite. The moment you feel abundant, regardless of what the outer shows, the process of multiplication has already begun. This is the divine law in motion. Whatever you accept as true in imagination will clothe itself in form. Your imagination is not idle. It is the workshop of God, the creative power that molds reality like clay. And what you consistently feel to be true in that inner workshop must eventually emerge on the screen of life. If you desire to see multiplication in your finances, your relationships, your opportunities, you must first multiply your awareness. Abundance must be assumed, lived, and believed internally before the harvest appears. Most people are waiting for a sign to believe. But belief itself is the sign. When you believe something so deeply that it no longer feels like a wish, but a fact, then consciousness has accepted it. And what the mind accepts as reality, the world must reflect. You are not praying to something outside of you. You are aligning with what already exists in a higher realm. You are calling it forth, not by force, but by faith. You are not chasing multiplication. You are embodying it. And embodiment always precedes evidence. It is not the striving that multiplies, it is the stillness. It is not the begging that draws the increase, it is the assuming. The one who assumes the feeling of the wish fulfilled multiplies without lifting a finger, for their inner world is already in possession of the blessing. This is why you must train yourself to feel wealthy before wealth arrives, to feel chosen before love appears, to feel elevated before the promotion is offered. For when you do, you bypass the illusions of time and cause. You live in the result, not the effort. Look around you. Whatever you see is the residue of past assumptions. If your present reality does not reflect what you desire, do not argue with it. Do not react. Instead, return to the inner world and plant the seed again. Refuse to let the outer dictate your inner, because once the inner is set, the outer must follow. It is not magic, it is law, and it does not fail. Every multiplication begins as a single, unseen thought, a moment of agreement in consciousness, a quiet inner yes that says, "This is now who I am." That moment is sacred. That moment carries the power to rearrange everything. You do not need to wait. You do not need to hustle. You do not need to convince the world. You only need to convince yourself. So sit with it. Feel the reality of your desire, not as a hope, but as a fact. Not as a dream, but as something already done. Embody it. Dwell in it. Walk in it. And without effort, without struggle, what was once invisible will begin to multiply around you, because consciousness is the only cause. And what you accept in imagination will not remain there. It must become your life. There is a sacred rhythm to how divine power moves. It does not announce itself with thunder. It does not need applause or spectacle. It moves in stillness, in certainty, in the quiet conviction that something has already changed. When multiplication begins, it rarely begins with noise. It begins with knowing. So many are looking for loud signs, explosions of blessings, visible breakthroughs, unmistakable moments of divine intervention. But the hand of God often moves in silence. It's not the earthquake that signals His presence, nor the fire, nor the wind, but the still, small voice within. That whisper, that calm certainty, that deep inner peace. That is where the multiplication starts. You may not feel anything on the surface. Your bank account may still look the same. The relationship may not have shifted. The job may not have appeared. But somewhere deep within you, a quiet click happens. A moment of alignment, a subtle shift in feeling, and suddenly you just know. You know it's done. You don't know how, you don't know when, but you're no longer waiting. You're walking in faith, not hoping, but knowing. That knowing is the sign, not the noise, not the applause, not the crowd's approval, not the external confirmation. You see, divine certainty is not built on logic. It is built on trust. When you trust that what you've asked for has already been answered, you no longer look for validation in the outer world. You carry the answer within you. And that becomes the vibration that calls the multiplication into form. The world may call you foolish. They may say, "Where is it? What's changed?" But you will not be moved. Because deep within your being, you feel something unshakable. It is not excitement. It is not hype. It is not adrenaline. It is stillness. It is clarity. It is assurance. That's how God moves. When the divine hand begins to operate in your life, it first touches your perception. Your vision changes. You begin to see as if it's already done. You begin to speak from the end. You no longer reach. You rest. You no longer chase. You align. There is no need to announce it. No need to prove anything. The one who knows doesn't need to explain. Their life becomes the testimony. Their energy becomes the invitation. And the multiplication follows naturally because their faith has already made room for it. The moment you stop needing the noise is the moment you start recognizing the truth, because noise fades, feelings fluctuate, but knowing remains. That is how blessings multiply. Through still conviction, not striving. Through quiet belief, not loud desperation. Through the gentle power of assumption, not through the panic of evidence seeking. So do not be discouraged if your life feels still right now. Stillness is not the absence of movement. It is the preparation for it. It is the sacred hush before the bloom. It is the calm before the doors open. In that quiet place, let your faith deepen. Let your inner knowing take root, because when you know it is done, truly know, it is already unfolding. Even if your eyes cannot see it, your spirit knows it. And that is enough. The signs of multiplication may not come with thunder, they may not be dramatic, but they will come with peace. They will come with a sudden absence of worry, a detachment from outcome, a silent joy that whispers, "It is finished." That is the movement of God. Not loud, but certain. Not public, but powerful. And when it arrives, you will realize He had been moving all along. Whatever you dwell upon, you give life to. Your attention is not passive, it is creative. Wherever you place it, you plant a seed. And like all seeds, it begins to grow, to take root, to multiply. The mind is fertile soil, and what you continually water with your focus and emotion will become the harvest of your life. This is why you must be deliberate with what you allow to occupy your inner world. The thoughts you revisit, the feelings you rehearse, the scenes you replay, these are not meaningless habits. These are acts of creation. Every dominant thought is a prayer. Every repeated feeling is an instruction to the invisible. You are constantly instructing the world to shape itself around your inner state. If you dwell on lack, you multiply it not because life is cruel, but because life is obedient. It gives you more of what you dwell upon, not to punish you, but to mirror you. You are not the victim of your circumstances, you are the author of them. Your outer world is simply the echo of your inner focus. This is the law. Where your attention goes, energy flows, and results grow. God does not multiply random desires. He multiplies what you hold in your heart as true. Your dominant state becomes the blueprint, and that blueprint is honored without fail. It doesn't matter if your words speak abundance, if your inner state screams fear. It is not the words. It is the energy behind them that moves mountains. So ask yourself, what do I dwell on when no one is watching? What feeling do I return to in the silence? That is the seed I am planting. That is the future I am shaping. You don't need to beg for change. You only need to change your focus. Shift your attention from what is missing to what is arriving, from what has been lost to what is now possible, from limitation to expansion, from fear to faith. The one who learns to dwell only on what they desire, without contradicting it with doubt, is the one who sees miraculous multiplication. Not because they forced anything, but because they remain faithful to the feeling. Do not be casual with your inner life. It is the womb of your reality. What you carry there will be born into your experience. Be intentional, be selective. Your inner world is holy ground. Choose thoughts that affirm the life you want. Dwell on the end, not the means. Dwell on the result, not the resistance. Let your imagination feast on what is lovely, abundant, noble, and already complete. The moment you make this your dominant habit, everything changes. Slowly at first, then all at once. People will call it luck. You will know it as the harvest of what you chose to dwell upon in private. You don't need to control the entire world. You only need to master your inner state. Because your inner state is the seed, and the law of life is multiplication. God's hand is not far. It is within. It moves through your focus. It responds to your persistence. When you dwell in faith, He multiplies the outcome. When you dwell in lack, He multiplies the delay, not out of judgment, but reflection. So decide now what you will water. Decide now what you will rehearse. Refuse to entertain thoughts that drain you. Guard your mind as you would your most sacred treasure, because it is. You are not waiting on God to move, God is waiting on you to dwell. And the moment your focus becomes clear, unwavering, and true, the multiplication begins. Delay is one of the most misunderstood parts of the process. To the surface mind, delay feels like punishment, like something has gone wrong, like your prayers have not been heard or your faith is being ignored. But what you call delay is often divine timing in disguise. And what appears to be stagnation is often unseen multiplication, growing in silence, preparing to emerge. Just because you don't see movement doesn't mean movement isn't happening. A seed doesn't sprout the moment it's planted. In fact, some of the most powerful growth happens in the dark, hidden from view. The root system takes shape underground before anything pushes through the surface. The same is true for the manifestations of your life. You imagined it, you felt it, you planted it in the soil of consciousness, but now you're tempted to doubt, to question, to dig it up and see if it's working. That's where many delay their own blessings. Not because the blessing wasn't coming, but because they disturbed the process with fear. Trust is not just believing that your desire is possible. Trust is knowing that its timing is perfect. Divine timing is never late, and it is never early. It aligns with the exact state of readiness in your spirit. You may think you're ready because you're desperate, but desperation is not readiness. Faith is. Readiness is the ability to receive without panic, to hold without clinging, to enjoy without fear. Delay is not denial, delay is preparation. Delay is protection. Delay is the sacred orchestration of details too intricate for the human mind to grasp. While you're wondering when it's coming, divine intelligence is aligning people, places, conversations, and conditions so that when your desire arrives, it fits perfectly. But this requires patience, and patience is not passive. Patience is active trust. It is the refusal to give up, even when your senses offer no encouragement. It is the discipline of inner stillness, the knowing that the work is already done. There's a reason the harvest doesn't appear immediately. Imagine digging up the soil every day to check on the seed. It would never grow. But that's what many do with their manifestations. They plant the vision but keep uprooting it with doubt, fear, and impatience. You must leave it alone. You must trust the invisible process. Once a desire is accepted in imagination and felt to be true, it moves into gestation. This is the unseen phase, the silent phase. But it is no less active. It is here that the deepest changes occur, not in your world, but in your being. Let the roots grow. Let the blessing mature. Let the invisible finish its sacred work. When you understand this, you stop begging, you stop checking, you stop doubting, you begin to praise it before it arrives. You begin to walk as if it's already yours. You begin to enjoy the peace that only comes from real faith. The ones who multiply are not the ones who wait perfectly. They're the ones who persist inwardly, who stay in the feeling even when there's no proof, who hold to the unseen even when the seen contradicts it. So if you're in a season that feels still, don't panic. Don't assume nothing is happening. What you call waiting is really building. What you call delay is really preparation. And what looks like emptiness is often the womb of overflow. Don't dig up what you planted. Don't question the process. Stay in alignment. Stay in gratitude. Stay in the feeling, because in one divine moment, everything can shift. And when it does, you realize it was never delayed at all. It was simply being made ready. Do not wait for the evidence. Do not wait for your bank account to change, the opportunity to appear, or the doors to open. The moment you assume the feeling of overflow, the divine law begins to move on your behalf. Reality does not create the feeling creates reality. There is a sacred power in assumption. Assumption is not fantasy, it is not pretending, it is not daydreaming. Assumption is the act of fully accepting a state as already real, already yours, already done. When you assume abundance, you are not wishing for it, you are being it. You are stepping into alignment with the version of yourself who already lives in the overflow. This is the divine order. First the feeling, then the form. Most people live the opposite way. They wait for circumstances to change so they can finally feel secure, finally feel rich, finally feel chosen. But this is the great error. Circumstances are reflections, not causes. They mirror your inner state. And if your inner state remains one of waiting, then life has no choice but to keep you in waiting. Then life has no choice but to keep you in waiting. But the one who understands the power of assumption reverses this order. They say, I will feel it now, not because I see it, but because I know it is already mine. They assume the feeling of wealth while walking through scarcity. They assume the feeling of love while surrounded by solitude. They assume the feeling of peace while the storm still rages. And it is this sacred act of inward ownership that causes life to reconfigure itself around them. The divine law is not slow. It is exact. The moment you shift within, the process begins. It may not be visible instantly, but it is activated immediately, and once activated, it cannot be undone unless you withdraw the assumption. So guard your inner state. Protect the feeling. Do not let appearances distract you. To assume overflow is to embody gratitude before the gift arrives. It is to carry the posture of one who already has. You walk differently. You speak differently. You move with quiet confidence, not because something changed outside, but because everything changed within. You do not need to fake it. You need only feel it. What would it feel like to wake up knowing your supply was endless? How would you breathe, speak, and respond if abundance was your natural state? You do not need to wait to feel this. You can choose it now. And that choice is your bridge. It is your invitation to the divine law, saying, I am ready to receive, for I already believe. The mind will protest. It will say, but look around. Nothing has changed. That is your cue to go deeper, to feel beyond the senses, to remain faithful to the unseen. Because what you do not yet see is forming. What you do not yet touch is arriving. And what you've already assumed is already yours in the realm that matters most. So act from overflow now, give from overflow now, think from overflow now. Let your inner world be rich, not because you're trying to attract something, but because you've already accepted that it's done. This is the secret the world overlooks. When you assume abundance, you are not chasing blessings, you are matching them. And when the match is made, the manifestation is inevitable. Do not wait another day to feel what you desire. Feel it now, live it now, be it now. Overflow is not a future event. It is a present decision. And the moment you choose it, the law responds. The hand of God never begins with what you can see. It starts in the invisible. Beyond the reach of your five senses, beyond the surface of circumstance, beyond what others can validate or measure. All true multiplication begins spiritually first. It is formed in the realm of consciousness before it appears in the world of form. And this is why trust is the key. What you cannot yet see is not absent. It is simply unfolding. Like the roots of a mighty tree pushing deep into the soil, invisible to the eye, yet essential to its strength, so too is the movement of the divine. It begins in silence. It moves through the unseen. It prepares the ground long before the harvest breaks through. Most people look only at what is. They measure progress by what's visible, but the invisible is always greater. The invisible is where power lives. Everything that now exists once lived in thought, in vision, in spirit. The phone in your hand, the house you live in, the career you hold, each began in someone's mind, in someone's inner world. The same law governs your life. If you're not seeing the multiplication yet, do not be discouraged. Do not assume nothing is happening. That assumption is a lie told by the senses. The truth is far greater. What you've imagined, what you've believed, what you've accepted as already yours in your inner world is becoming. Not through effort, but through alignment. Not through force, but through divine order. You don't need to trace how it will happen. That is not your role. Your only task is to dwell in the state of the fulfilled desire, to feel the outcome as real and trust that the hand of God is moving, even when no movement is visible. Because He works behind the veil, He orchestrates in dimensions not yet revealed. So many abort their blessings by doubting what they cannot yet see. They plant the seed in faith and then dig it up in fear. But the ones who multiply are those who understand the law, first in spirit, then in form. When you pray, your prayer is answered immediately, in the unseen. The answer exists the moment the belief is formed. But it must mature. It must be drawn out by persistent alignment. Like water rising in a well, the substance is already present. It's simply being lifted by your unwavering faith. The hand of God is not idle. It is not silent because it is absent. It is silent because it is sacred. And the sacred always begins in secret. What you cannot see is being arranged. The right connections, the perfect timing, the ideal conditions, all coming together in ways you could not plan. But if you let appearances dictate your belief, you'll keep restarting the process. You'll keep canceling what heaven has already approved. That's why stillness is required. That's why inner conviction is more powerful than external facts. Believe in the invisible. Trust what your spirit knows, but your eyes cannot yet confirm. That is true power. That is faith. And that is where multiplication begins. So if the outer world still looks the same, rejoice. It means the real work is being done where it matters most. It means the invisible hand is moving, rearranging, aligning, unfolding. And in one sacred moment, the veil will lift. The spiritual will become visible. What once lived only in your imagination will stand before you in flesh. And you will realize it had already happened. You were just catching up to it. God moves through the invisible first. And when you trust that, you become unstoppable. Everything you desire, every overflow, every breakthrough, every multiplication is already in motion. But it does not begin with what you see. It begins with what you believe. The invisible is not empty. It is alive with purpose, forming your future through your assumptions, your feelings, and your faith. God's hand does not need noise to be powerful. It moves in certainty, in stillness, and in perfect timing. What you dwell upon expands. What you assume becomes. What you trust in the unseen unfolds in the seen. So guard your inner world, for it is the holy ground where all things begin. And above all, do not dig up in doubt what you planted in faith. Your harvest is not coming, it's already growing. Walk as though it's done, feel as though it's here, because it is. And the moment you align with that truth, the multiplication becomes inevitable. Sincere thank you line. Thank you for allowing these words to enter your spirit. May they remind you of who you truly are and the infinite abundance that is already yours.